Hello, and today we're going to talk about teaching beyond the books. Often, when we think of school, what's the first thing we think of? We think of books, we think of tests, we think of a curriculum and a checklist that we need to do. And in the post public school world, that is what is seen as success, school, education, any of the above. However, as we've learned through this course, and as you may have discovered in homeschooling your child, education and school are not the same thing. School is a system that was set up to impart education in an efficient manner to as many children as possible in the shortest amount of time. It's really more of a factory than an experience. Whereas education is a lifestyle, it is a growing process that begins before a child is born and really never ends. It should be something that is part of your life throughout your entire life. And truly successful people are not the ones who read the earliest or who had the best penmanship at 5 years old or who got through those checklists and those textbooks in the most efficient manner. The truly successful people, the truly happy and fulfilled people, are the ones who never stop learning, who have a love of learning and an understanding of education that they continue to grow and experience and question and dive deep into things that interest them, always making themselves a better person. Not necessarily just getting to a certain level, but always making them a better person using their gifts and their strengths and accommodating their weaknesses. So, when we start homeschooling, often we think that, well, we need to look at what the schools are doing. And now it is important to understand how an education works, when children learn certain skills, what the order of, like, you need to take pre-algebra before you take algebra, before you take algebra 2, right? You don't want to take algebra 2 and then go to pre-algebra. So in some sense, a system of order and understanding child development is important. However, child development is not the same thing as a system of grades, kindergarten through 12th grade, or even a system of grades A, B, C, D, and E, A, B, C, D, and F. um, a an education is an experience and a developing of the inner soul and the abilities and knowledge of a person. So, when we are planning our homeschool, we don't want to get bogged down in this book, that book, teaching this subject here, teaching that subject there, making sure we make it to the end of this, making sure we do that. Because that then is creating a school in your home instead of an education at home. Homeschooling really should be about facilitating the best education possible for a child. Now, this can be more challenging when you have a child who is struggling in any way, in a subject, in a physical way, or in any capacity in their academic setting, which could be at home or in a brick and mortar school. Because then we feel like even more we need a system. We need to check off the boxes and move through so that we know that he is keeping up or he is getting to the point that he needs to be at. Instead of focusing on the child and saying, what does this child need? What kind of education can we give him? How can we support him and celebrate the wonderful person that he is? So, when we teach beyond the books, we remember to educate the whole person. We don't just go through the books and make sure that he gets through all those books, because then that means that he truly is educated. There are people who are educated that possibly can't do, higher level math, or didn't study physics, or possibly can't even write. However, they have an education. Education doesn't mean that you can, as I said, check off all the boxes. So it's important to think of, what are the things that I want my child to know? Practical skills. Um, we live in a digital age, so are there internet skills that you feel are important? Are there personal skills? dealing with the public, calling someone on the phone, being able to create and serve a meal. All of these are skills. All of this is education. And many times, those skills that live outside of the book stack are the skills that develop into lifelong passions and open the doors to careers and life paths for children, whether they are struggling or not. Because let's be honest, how many of us actually found our career or our passion in one of the textbooks at school? I want to encourage you to not get stuck in the textbook rut. Textbooks, like schools, were created to deliver a set amount of education in a set amount of time to the most children possible, in the least amount of effort. Okay, so textbooks are not necessarily bad, but you need to realize why they were invented. Okay, they're more of a tool than an actual education. They're a tool of imparting knowledge. They are not a necessity to an education. When dealing with your child that is struggling, it is very important to find what it is that will ignite their passion and what their needs are beyond just keeping up with everyone. You know, we say don't keep up with the Joneses, but then we expect the kids to all keep up with each other. So look at different options. Is your child wild about horses? I have one of those. So is there something that she can do that will incorporate her love of horses and teach her other things? Teach her important life skills. In the end, life skills, practical skills, and personal skills are going to take you much further than passing that sixth grade math test. And it has been proven time and time again that employers are looking for what they call soft skills, which are the skills that are not taught in books, are not taught in schools, and are generally ignored because they're thought of as unimportant. However, those are very important. And I have found that children that struggle in the traditional learning often excel in these soft skills of interacting with other people, of having a practical um, gift of possibly baking or serving in some way. I mean, you need to really look beyond just thinking, how am I going to get through second grade? And see what it is that your child does well at and how you can support that and how you can teach lessons that will develop that child as a whole person that is productive and able to reach her whole potential and will serve her in the rest of her life, not just get through this. So, different ideas include, as I said, working in the community, volunteering, doing practical work around the house, doing practical work with their hands, learning personal skills. And these are things that every child should learn. It doesn't matter what your strengths or weaknesses are. Every child needs to learn these. So really sit down and look at the worksheets that I provided and think of what are the lessons that go beyond books that your child needs to be learning and how can you teach that to him. Thank you.